Well, we've seen this in the past where the NFL revolves around one player. Last season, it was basically Lamar Jackson. He impacted the entire AFC. But debatably, it was actually Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, the season before that, it was Patrick Mahomes, won the MVP. The last decade or two, it's been Tom Brady. That is very obvious and clear. But this season, 2020 to 2021, I believe that the NFL is going to revolve around Ben Roethlisberger. So, obviously, Ben Roethlisberger is a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. He's won 2 Super Bowls. Has had an amazing career, amazing stats, led the league in passing a couple times. But to say that the league is going to revolve around him, what do you think I mean by that? So, obviously, this does not really impact the NFC because Ben Roethlisberger is going to compete in the AFC with the Steelers. But talking about the Steelers, we obviously know that this team has maybe the best defense in the NFL with TJ Watt, Bud Dupree, Minka Fitzpatrick, Joe Hayden. Obviously one of the best defenses, and it can win games for them. We've seen it last season. Their defense basically won more than half of their games for them, and they had 8 wins without Ben Roethlisberger. So when you go 8-8, carried by a defense with Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges as your QB, and they do absolutely nothing, having some of the worst offensive stats in the league, what do you expect to happen next season when healthy Ben Roethlisberger is in return Hall of Famer, 2-time Super Bowl champ, passing yard leader in 2017, 2018, I believe, or 2018 and 2019. It's amazing stats right there. So what do you think's going to happen? So obviously, I said the NFL revolves around him because he impacts the way that the AFC is going to be seeded next season. So ultimately, there are 2 outcomes of Ben Roethlisberger's return. Number 1, he gets injured or he just doesn't play as good as he has. Obviously, I don't think Ben Roethlisberger is going to underperform. He hasn't really done that. But the possibility of him getting injured is pretty likely. It's 50-50 in my opinion. It could happen week 1, it could happen week 8 or week 17. And that is why Ben Roethlisberger is so impactful for the AFC next season. Because if he does not get injured once, I do believe that with the best defense in the league, and obviously Ben Roethlisberger's offense, with Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, already throwing shade at the Giants. Season hasn't even started yet, honestly. That's pretty funny. Obviously, you got Eric Ebron, Vance McDonald, James Conner. So with that offense, probably going to be really good next season. And with Ben Roethlisberger at QB, what do you expect to happen? Well, I expect a healthy Ben Roethlisberger to have one of the best records in the NFL because their schedule and their team is so good. So by this, I mean their schedule is so easy. It has been ranked the 2nd easiest schedule in the NFL behind the Baltimore Ravens. So obviously, the flaw in my logic here is that the Baltimore Ravens obviously have the easiest schedule in the league, and they should beat Pittsburgh, and they should get the division win. But obviously, I can see Ben Roethlisberger splitting the series with Baltimore, or ultimately 2-0ing them next season. Obviously, I think it's going to be a 1-1 record. Obviously, the Thanksgiving game is going to be a good one. It's in Pittsburgh, and it's going to be a good game to watch. So I believe the division fate honestly lands in the role of who wins that game, Thanksgiving. So besides that, if the Pittsburgh Steelers somehow get past the Baltimore Ravens, which I do believe will happen, just because I do believe our schedule is easier than theirs. And the only reason, in my opinion, that they are ranked the easiest schedule is because we have to play them twice. But they're under-ranking Pittsburgh at this moment in time. So basically giving them the same amount of skill, I would say that these schedules are basically the same. Pittsburgh's might even be easier because we play the Bills, they play the Patriots. I guess we get the harder matchup there. But we also play the Broncos at home, and they play the Chiefs at home. They also have to go to Philly, and we, the Steelers, have to go to Dallas. So that's why their schedule might look easier. So, continuing, if we get past Baltimore in the division rankings, what is that going to look like? Well, obviously, everyone's favoring Baltimore to get a first or second seed next season, and the second seed doesn't really matter anymore because they do not have a first round bye because they have to play the 7th seed since they've added that extra playoff spot. So, like I said, if we get past Baltimore, what is that going to look like? Well, it's going to look like the Steelers at the first or second seed because we did not have to play the Chiefs, so there isn't a tiebreaker there, and we could have a better record than them. Doesn't matter. But ultimately, that will leave the Baltimore Ravens at the 5th seed. And at the end of the season, I do believe that most likely the AFC East is going to end up in the 4th seed. And that would be the Patriots or the Bills, most likely the Bills. And you can see the Bills eliminating the Ravens at home wild card weekend. But ultimately, if that doesn't happen, Ben Roethlisberger gets injured, we'll see the Ravens at 1 seed. We'll see the Steelers not even making the playoffs. In my opinion, it is crazy to think that one player can change the structure of a playoff seeding. So, the Steelers' limit is so high next season. They are expecting a Super Bowl run, but their floor, their lowest point is so low. They could be losing to the Bengals and the Browns. Honestly, they wouldn't even make the playoffs next season. And that is saying something. That one player will ultimately end up winning a Super Bowl or getting injured and having a losing record. So now that you hear the logic in my statements, will this actually happen? So, with a firm belief in the Pittsburgh Steelers, I do believe that this possibility of happening is around 50%. And whoever wins the AFC North, Baltimore or Pittsburgh, is going to win the Super Bowl next season. And I say this because their record is going to be so high because they have easy schedules. Obviously, whoever comes in second place in the division is easily getting that 5th seed, no doubt about it. Can't see any other reason why. In that 5th seed, we'll play Buffalo, I bet money, or the Titans. And honestly, can ultimately just getting wiped out right there. So like I said, I'm a firm believer in the Steelers pulling this off. It's all coming down to beating the Ravens in the regular season and winning the hard games on the road against the Titans and the Cowboys. So that is it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications for more uploads, and I really appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching. Adios.